Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Rula Alousi. I'm the program leader for the undergraduate degree level at Regent College London in partnership with Bolton University. So I've prepared this video for you guys for anybody who's teaching at level 4, level 5, level 6. It's regardless of which level you are delivering at the moment. This is all for your benefit as academics and students alike. So the presentation is not going to take long. It's about maximum 40-45 minutes maybe, but it's all about good practices that I have been using personally in class, as well as recommending and suggesting to other colleagues and students. So the first point that I want to address is the feedback. And of course, this is, as you know, it's really important. It's something that not just beneficial for the students, but also for us academics, for the lecturers. We need to give in-time feedback. We need to give an ongoing, continuous feedback. This will give us an indication as to how the students are doing. How are they performing? Are they on the right track? Are they actually in line with the assessment criteria and so on? So giving feedback works both ways. It's beneficial, of course, for the student to know how well they've been doing, and for the academics, as I said, because it is an indication. And it's also a guide for you to know whether the standard of your class, the standard of your students, what sort of information and knowledge they are gaining from your delivery. So it's a win-win scenario, or win-win situation. So it's really important that we encourage students to request feedback, and this of course will be through Moodle. As you know, it's more often than not, students would be discouraged or a bit worried from using Moodle because of maybe lack of knowledge or maybe access to the platform or whatnot. So we strongly encourage them to submit their draft work via Moodle. There are many ways we can actually encourage students to submit the draft work. One of them is the exercises or quizzes or tasks that are given in class. It's really important that on weekly basis, or every single lecture that we deliver to our group, is we split the class into two parts. The first being the lecture delivery, where we deliver all the information and the contents for that particular module and that particular week, and the second part will be the seminar part, and this is where your work, your duty requires you to give the student or the students even exercises to work on, which is in alignment with the assessment criteria. So what I've put here for you guys is some guide as to how we can link everything together. So not just give them any exercises that are random, but the point being is that we try and blend in the assessment brief into the exercises and encourage the students at the end of every session, or at least for the first half of the second part, meaning the first half of the seminar, to work on the tasks. Let me just check and see if my camera is still working. Yeah. To work on the tasks that you've been given, and then later on in the second part of the seminar, the students would then be encouraged to upload their work to check for similarity, and again to check for the progress that they're doing. So this is a very important point. Please encourage your students to submit work on continuous basis or continuously throughout the delivery or throughout the module. So if you have 10, 12, maybe 14 weeks of delivery, don't leave until week 14 or week 13 to request. Don't leave it till the end to request the submission. You need to submit it. You need to encourage the students to submit beforehand. So as I said, there are different means of formative feedback. You can encourage the students through exercises and whatnot. Right, the other good practice, as I said, the whole point of this presentation is to share with you some good practices. The other good practice is on-time marking. So once you have your submission deadline, you reach your submission deadline, you have 14 days to mark your assessments or to mark your students' work. Please make sure that you actually mark your students' assignments within the 14 days window. This will reduce stress on the students. So this will build a trust in you build trust between you and your classroom, between you and your students, to know that their work is actually being valued, being assessed and marked. And at the end of the day, if you can keep a list of who's actually requested the formative feedback, you have an idea or an indication of how students will be doing. So your marking becomes easier. Again, going back to the formative feedback, like I said before, it's a win-win scenario. There's no loss at giving feedback. So marking your assignments on time is something really important. And this is my favorite bit, which I have been using over the past few years with my lot, which is it's dread. Now, you might say, what is dread? We all dread stuff. Some of us may be brave enough not dread anything or fear anything, but I actually turn the negative into positive. The dread is the fearing of something, or worried about something, or scared of something. Turn it into something positive. You dread your assignments, or you dread doing your work. Turn it positive. So dread stands for define, reference, example, and discuss. And you might say, where does that fit in? And I'll tell you now. Dread, define, reference, examples, and discuss is within the assignment. So encourage the students to use this acronym. Like I said, it's my own creation. It stands for if you're introducing a new topic, or if you're discussing a new topic or a new subject, like for example, I teach or deliver information systems and big data. So if we're talking about information systems, what is big data? What is information systems? What is the main topic of the assignment? So what you do is, let's take again big data. So what is big data? Define big data. This is what you let your students know. Encourage them, please, on weekly basis. When they're working on their assignments, when they're working on their draft work, please encourage them, even if it's an exercise, encourage them to define the topic. What is big data? For some reason, my screen keeps blanking there. So define the topic. What is big data? You've defined it. This is how you deliver. Of course, it depends on each of us own delivery method, but this is what I say to them. I say, we define big data. Big data is, you define it, but how can you just leave a definition without referencing? Always make sure that you encourage your students to define, reference, indicating and citing the accurate reference. And that will, of course, I'll explain that in a bit or in the coming slides about referencing. So make sure that they reference. So you have definition, then you're moving on to referencing this definition. That's another bit, okay? Once you've defined, referenced, give examples. What is an example of big data? Or what is an example of digital marketing? What is an example of human resources management? Okay, so you defined, referenced, gave example. Now you start your discussion. Of course, this is you can absolutely shift the letters. You can start with your reference according to whoever. You give example and then you discuss. You can play about with the letters, but I found it easier. In a way, I put dread to try and show that there's always good in something bad, or dreading something, we can transform that into something positive. This is dread. So please, I encourage the students to use it. So another good practice is Citation Generator. Many of our students struggle with referencing, struggle with a citation, and this is a big problem. So one of the tools that I encourage them to do is the Cite Me. They can either use Cite Me or they can use my Bib Free Citation Generator. Show them how to use it. It's a piece of cake. It's really simple, really easy. All they do is download it through Google Chrome, or as I tell them, go to Auntie Google and say, hey Google, how do I find my Bib Free Citation Generator? Download this, add the add-on on the top of the screen or on the top of your search bar, and it's always there. Of course, this particular application does have its flaws. It's about, I would say it's about 90 to 95% accurate. However, if compared to the struggle that the students are going through, especially at the foundation or first year in their bachelor's degree, it's a bit difficult. So please encourage them to search for a suitable, credible citation generator. There's the other longer way, which is through Word, as you probably know. So show them please how to do referencing directly through using Word, which is going to the search bar right at the top, clicking on references, and then show them whether to select this from a book and or journal and so on. Please remember that we set the citation or the referencing to Harvard style, not any other style, not the IEEE, not Harvard Australia, just Harvard please. Okay, Harvard referencing is what we go for.